This guy I'm about to speak to makes over $20,000 a month selling a coaching business, and he lives in Thailand. Now, he's just a young guy in his 20s. He used to do PT, he used to be a handstand coach, believe it or not. In this video, we're going to dive into his offer, the client acquisition system he uses, the sales system, delivery, how he upsells and keeps clients. And the reason I wanted to do this is because I'm always harping on and preaching to you the things I do. Why didn't I bring in someone that I've helped, but also someone who has a different perspective on things? And obviously I've helped him, but he also has different nuances and ways of doing things. So we're going to head over to Zoom. I'm going to be interviewing him here in 30 seconds, but it's going to be right now for you. And we're going to dive into all of that. I'm going to share my screen and actually walk you through this whole process. Hopefully this will help, and I'll see you on the inside here. Tom, welcome, man. I'm excited to have you. Really am looking forward to this call. I'm glad, like, I sent you that message the other day, and I said, like, it's not just a Jason is great call. And you came back and said to me, well, it can be a Jason is great call because, and tell us like what just happened, last month and what's been happening the last few months.
100%, man, 100%. Yeah, I think like it's good to have a Jason is great call, but to give like more value and around like the actual journey. I think that mine's been such a like I've had no luck along this journey, and that's
Yeah.
one thing that you sort of helped me through is just like getting this to where it is now without luck. Obviously, I've moved out to Thailand last month. We hit like our first 20K month, and this month already, where it's like the fifth, we're already over like 5K for this month,
Cool.
and we're probably looking towards 20K per month. And it's just been like all the small things that we've done over the past like year or so, which has just compounded to now, which has been, really valuable for us.
Yeah. Good, man. I like that. I've actually been like drilling on this concept that I think it's really important for everyone to understand, and it's really like something that's always frustrated me is because like in when I used to play soccer, I wasn't the most talented, skillful, like creative guy, but I would be running as hard as I could. I would be training as hard as I could, and I would be doing all of the little things. And so when I'm like teaching or coaching soccer, I know all of the little tiny details that like, Ronaldo would know more than me, but those guys with all of the talent wouldn't know because I had to figure it out. And I think that that's like why we relate to each other so well is that there's no innate talent that we have. We're not special marketers or anything like that, but we just do the work and we hit the KPIs. So I think that that's really good that you said that because that is exactly the model that we want is doing that stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump into the offer acquisition, and I want you to give as much of your source away as for free here, so we can really make this valuable. Um, Tell us first how you got started. So said it briefly on like my introduction that I filmed is like you were doing handstand coaching. Like, tell us how you got into this space, if you will.
Yeah, so like I've been a coach technically since I was like 12 years old. I was swim teacher. I was doing like sports coaching in schools, all that stuff growing up. And eventually I got, when I was like 18 years old, a job as a coach in schools. Long story short, I didn't really like it that much. I transitioned into personal training. So I was working on the gym floor. I actually very quickly managed to transition online. And I kind of just got bored of the whole sort of helping men gain muscle space and stuff like that. I wanted to have more of a unique offer. So I was just going deeper down the rabbit hole. I ended up having a coaching business where I was teaching people to do handstands,
Mm.
incredibly niche. And I was working with different business mentors. I was, doing really well with that business, surprisingly. We were charging like £1,500 for a 90-day program.
That's
And
crazy.
like, not making like crazy money, but like two or three sales maybe per month was given as like free, £3,000. I was full time with it,
Yeah.
and that was really I could have pulled more clients if I wanted to. But a lot of the trainers that I worked with, sorry, a lot of the clients I had were trainers themselves. So they started asking me, "How are you doing so well with your business and whatnot?" So I actually started to tell them, the sort of marketing tactics and the ad strategies that we're running, and some of them started doing even better than myself in business. So I was like, okay, I like this business stuff. I started working for other coaches originally. I worked for gyms, I worked for like FMMA style stuff, and then eventually transitioned into doing this coaching business. But it was a bit of a shock to the system when I started this, just because I was so new to the business coaching world. I thought I was going to be the only business coach, only to find out I was in the
Yeah.
sea of business
Yeah.
coaches. I was like, what the fuck do I do now? Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, brilliant. That's really cool. I didn't know that part of it's exactly kind of my journey as well, where I was doing agency and then people said, why don't you like help me with this? And I did, and I enjoyed it, and people started making more money than me. I was like, okay, well, coaching seems to be good. And I think that it's good that you come from that place. I don't like when people say I'm not in it for the money because it's bullshit. You have to be. You have to. Like I have a guy at my gym, he's a pastor at a church, right? And he always says, like, money is important to us, right? We're not just doing this for free. We need to provide for our family. But obviously, it's, religion and all of that. So I think that,
True.
but the cool thing is helping people is a benefit to making money. The more money that you make, the more people that you help. And I'm glad that you resonated with that right away. It's like coaching was in your blood from early days, right?
Yes, but of course, like anybody who tells you that they're not in it for money, probably run from them.
Yeah, definitely run from them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So let's jump into kind of the, nitty gritty of it here. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to be taking notes and just like shooting questions away to you. So can you see that okay?
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful. So what we're going to do is we're going to run through quite quickly, but in detail, and feel free to stop and like touch on more things if you need. Is I want to run through kind of the fundamentals, so the niche, the offer, messaging side of things, bit of the acquisition, bit of the sales side, and then some delivery side because I think that that's actually something that you're really good at, and the results that you get out of this world. So let's start with the fundamentals of the offer. Now you don't have to reveal price and stuff because I think maybe clients and that'll be watching of yours. But walk me through firstly the niche, and then we'll go on the offer.
Yeah, I mean, I can reveal the price. I don't mind
Yep. Beautiful.
the
Yeah,
price
cool. We'll
if
do
you.
that.
Yeah, yeah. So niche is working with. We landed on working with personal trainers who are working the gym floor or 9 to 5 and want
Yeah.
to transition to full time online and hit their first between $5,000 and $10,000 month.
Yeah. So 5 to 10K months. Beautiful. And why
Over the month.
specifically that number? Just so like everyone can understand.
Yeah, I think that once you get to 5 to 10K per month, it's kind of like there's no other way of saying it. It's kind of like the escape the matrix number where you can
Yeah.
then go and travel to wherever you want really in the world. You can go to
Yeah.
Thailand, you can do the whole Southeast Asia thing. But ultimately, like you're making just above what the average wage is, especially in the UK, so that you can work from home. I have a lot of parents that I work with, for example, and they can now
Yeah.
spend more time with their children and growing their family and sort of a lot of people athletes as well, a lot of personal trainers, they just want to be training full time and then have that $5,000 per month coming in on the side, so it makes
Beautiful.
sense.
Yeah, and I get that too. It's the freedom side of things. I think that so honestly, it was really funny. I don't want to make this about me, but we had I think it was somewhere around middle of this year, we had the most like ever cash in the account. We had so much. This sounds stupid, but we had so much cash it was like overflowing into accounts, and I'm like, bro, just get it out of my sight. Like I don't want to see it in our main operating account. I know it sounds so stupid to say. But I am one of these people that am a doomsday guy sometimes. And so I'm like, get it out of my sight because I don't want to feel this like real sense that we have all of this money. And it was funny is that when we had money, I was actually a worse operator. I was actually happier when I was around that mark because I knew that I wanted more. And so I do think that a lot of people shit on that 10K a month mark, but I do think that it's really important to get there so you know what's possible. And then you can want more or you could just stay there. So it's good that you have that, and you've helped like I don't know how many people have you helped. Do you know offhand hit that? I've seen a
Yeah,
lot.
it's a lot. I would say because we work with people quite tightly in it over the past 3 years, it'll be over 100 now, but probably not over 200. But
Wow,
100 is a decent number for us.
that's brilliant. That's freaking awesome. And so for me, like that is the biggest thing here is getting to that number. You've helped hundreds of people do it. Like that's what we're here for. You're changing lives, man, and you're changing lives of the people that you change lives. Like it just goes on and on. It spirals. So
Yeah,
that's really
yeah, of
cool.
course. A huge knock-on effect, 100%.
Yeah. So all right, let's talk offer then. So walk us through kind of the logistic, like so what are the pillars, what are the logistics of the offer?
So the main feature, we actually categorize it as more of a done with you service, just because
Yep.
we've got the system down now so well that like in a 15-minute call per week, I can pretty much deliver that system to them one-on-one and have them go and implement and see results. Like the results are getting, it's like we've always got results, but the speed in which they're coming through now has just become crazy. Like within a week, people are making 2, 3K and
Wow.
being very, very happy, which is obviously part and parcel why we've done so well as well. Um, so I know that we spoke earlier on the year, and one of the ideas was to get rid of the one-to-one calls. To be
Yep.
completely honest, I've actually kept the one-on-one calls, but reduced them more down to a 15-minute check-in style call like they would do with their own clients, where
Hmm.
we pretty much just give them like very quickly what they need to know, and then they go and implement. And that's been working very well. I do understand that at some point it's going to have to move to group calls. So what we're about to start implementing now, we're at like the 20K mark, is like workshop calls where we kind of sit on the call and do stuff with them, like build their offer or build out their content
Yeah,
cadence for the we're building
beautiful.
out.
I actually really like that. And one of the things is that like you don't have to ever apologize for like going against what I say, but you listened and you took it on board and you changed it because I looked at your calendar and it was a mess, right? It was like you got we got on a call and it was the end of your day and it was like, oh yeah, you're my 15th or something crazy call of the day. I was like, man, we've got to fix that. And so I'm okay with that because I do think that when you're like sub 20, sub 30 is the special sauce within your program is obviously you, right? Like that is the biggest difference maker. So you can learn so much about these different businesses. I do think that you can change this to like either an office hours where you're on Zoom for 2 hours, maybe every day or just every couple of days, and people can pop in and out. So that way it's just constricted and you're not like, because the worst thing with one-on-one calls, the reason I don't like them isn't the fact of the time on the call. It's like 8 a.m. I have a call, then 9:30 I have a call,
Yeah,
which means that that hour is all I have, and it's probably more like 45 minutes. So it's screwing up your whole workday. But
it
I think
is.
that you could do that in a workshop. I like that a lot.
That's a really good shout. The office
Beautiful.
hours. Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
it's I'm kind of doing it in the style which I did when I was a trainer, and I'd have like my check-in days. It's just now I have two check-in days. So Mondays and Fridays, I'll take a bunch of calls with a bunch of different clients. And outside of that, honestly, my week feels very free. And it's good to see now that like now, especially like my brother, who's also doing my setting for me,
yeah.
who's obviously you guys and Bogdan, he's just printing appointments now as well.
Yeah, I love
So
it. I love it.
that
So
that
that's actually probably something that we should touch on, right? So you've got your team is obviously yourself. This is why like I feel it's so cool, man. It's like honestly watching like my own journey. I
yeah.
know I know I say that and I don't want to like little bro you or anything like that. You're your own person, but it's just really good to watch, right? I really I'm building this challenge over the next few weeks and like every single time I'm trying to hit home a point, I literally think of you and your story because it's
Yeah.
like just so easy to convey because you listen, you execute, right? So you've got yourself, your brother. You don't have a VA at the moment.
We've returned for a few VAs, but no, it's just me and my brother right now.
Yeah, I think that that's fine. We actually are currently VA-less ourselves, so we've just like tried to replace all of that with automation, and we've done 90% of it. Yeah, there's a few buttons that we might have to click more than usual, but it's been pretty good. So that's and it's not an expense thing. It was just like
Yeah.
kind of was. It's like we were paying $1,000 a month for 2 hours of work. So
Yeah,
it did
yeah,
make
no.
sense. So team, you and your brother, and I'll just put in like the rev of 20K, and we're going to keep that up for sure. All right, cool. So let's go back down here to the offer a little bit. So they get one-on-one calls with you, they get group calls. You have a course, right?
There is a course
Yep.
indeed, yes. Um, Again, like now that we're doing that 20K and we're getting more clients and things are feeling a lot easier when it comes to acquisition, I think having a more sort of structured and leveraged way of delivering certain parts of the information that I give in the course, just because we know that system so well now,
Yeah.
I want to be able to deliver that in a package that people go and watch for the first like month, and that gives them that instant ROI, and then maybe they're a little bit more call heavy following that.
Beautiful. That's actually where you'll start to notice a lot of the difference in this business. Like so the 20 to 40, I find that it's actually shedding your previous identity. It's less of the work. It's more of like shedding the identity that I'm the difference and then creating the system being the difference. So and I think that like me, you will find that as a struggle. But if you just work it and you just get the course and you get systems in place, you'll be able to crush this.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
love
yeah.
it. Cool. And I
Consistent.
didn't mean to turn it into a coaching call. I just it's just natural.
I appreciate it, man. I
So
appreciate it.
let's touch
Because
on pro.
like you've been talking to me since we it was like, okay, so at the 5 to 10K mark, you're doing X, Y, and Z. At the
Yeah,
10
I
to
have.
50K mark, to the 50 to 20, it's just funny. It was funny to hear you say from the 20 to 40K mark. I'm like, I've
Yeah.
heard that.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, it is true. It actually did feel a little like deja vu. I was like, shit, I've said this before to him before.
Yeah, just a different price, just a different numbers. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's good. So pricing. Uh, walk us through that real quick.
Sure. So it's a 4 month program. We're currently
Yep.
sitting at a total price of 4K USD for split, but if they pay in full, they get 3K.
Oh, wow,
3K
that's a good discount. Sorry for the helmet writing. So that is splits, and
Yeah,
then it is 3K
pay in
if
full. Yeah.
cool.
And it's actually one of the reasons why we did that. Quite a lot of the guys in our space are doing that. And as the delivery is becoming less time intensive, I don't know whether it's just a belief thing on my part, but I know that like maybe I should charge more, but 3K painfuls just seem really easy to get. Like last month we had two.
Beautiful.
We were charging like nearly 6K USD, and it felt so difficult to get a painful.
Yeah. So it's actually it's funny. Again looking at this stuff, and I've actually spoken to a few people. Some people doing, working on teams doing half a mil to a mil a year, and some work 100K months or some 50K months. And they've actually all found the same sort of thing, is that pricing in this range is much better than the pricing of, the 7K or 8K or anything like that, because it's selling. But where a lot of those businesses go wrong, where I think we can differ, is the keeping and the retaining of the clients. Like I was trying to find but you did like 10 different emails on our like Stripe. And so I was trying to find like how much in total that you've spent. And it's, I mean, 20, 30K with us, I think, at least, right? And that is the difference, is so that can turn into a lot of money because you're just keeping those clients for as long as possible. Is that what you're doing at the moment? You're keeping clients?
Clients is been really really easy actually. Yeah, just
Yeah.
because like they've been great. So we offered them a really like again I'm going to change this and I think I'm going to go for more of a recurring model looking further down the line. But we've offered them they'll pay that pay in full, but then if they want to stay for another 6 months, they get the split. Now, to be honest, we haven't implemented this new lower price past
Hmm.
4 months. So as in nobody's actually renewed on this 3K. So maybe I'll get to like getting 1.5K USD for like more time in a couple
Yeah.
months' time with clients and be like, that was a bad move. But
Yeah.
if they require less work, then honestly, like as far as I'm concerned, as long as I get results and I don't have to put that much work in, I'm not.
Exactly, exactly. And I always talk about it, and I think that this is probably something that we've got to build a little bit on one of our next calls, is the milestones of like the program, is so like, the steps that they've got to take is like this might be achieved in the first 4 months, and then the next stuff will be achieved in like 6 months, because their goal, like that 10K goal, might actually turn to that 20K. So I do think that that's something that we've got to look at, as well as like what are we achieving in the second phase of the program as well.
Yeah,
Cool. I love it, man. All right, so that's enough on that. Anything else you want to touch on, or is that kind of covered?
yeah, that
Cool.
was it all. Yeah.
Let's move over to acquisition. So walk us through. Let's actually maybe even kind of draw out a little bit of a funnel here, if you will. So let's talk firstly like lead gen. So how are we getting getting leads at the moment?
Mhm. So it's been mostly through, honestly, we've grinded lead gen, but
Yep.
we've stuck to the basics with it. We've done DMs, content on Instagram, Facebook group invites, and then we've started to run Instagram and Facebook ads, which has started to grow. Just very simple ones.
Yeah,
I
good.
started the Facebook group and the email list. So that's given us, slightly more scale now as well.
Yeah, beautiful. I actually like am such a, and I think you posted it the other day, like talking about cold DMs and stuff, is I think that people are just so like anti this, and you can do like they're so, you can make money without XYZ. I'm like, yeah, okay, you can, but just make some freaking noise to generate leads.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. You just
just
got
make
to
fucking noise.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
started by commenting in Facebook groups, and that's how I built a 7,000 person Facebook group myself. Just make some freaking noise, and then you can get more leverage with the ads and email as you go. So cool.
That's it. Honestly, like I don't like to almost tell people that like, hey, the majority of the big like from 0 to 10K per month. I don't like to tell people that we just did a lot of DMs, like a lot of cold
Yeah,
outreach.
because
But
people
it's
want it
also
the easy way. That's why.
yeah, but it is also the truth. It's like I didn't get lucky. My content isn't bad, but it definitely it didn't go viral.
No.
I've not met big creators that have like given me a leg up or given me that leverage. I've not had a big cash injection to then, go and pump into ads or anything like that. I've had to do it from absolute scratch. It's been completely hand-to-hand manual the
Yeah.
whole time. Now it's getting more easy, which is
Yeah.
cool. But
Yeah. That's
like
great though. That like I mean that's exactly the way that we always say. And with that in mind, and I think that this is important for everyone to understand, is that so what happens, let's say you had some really good, and you see it actually time and time again, is these guys are running ads and then 2 months later you see their ads are completely different or they're on content or whatever it is. For you and I, if we're like whatever blows up, cool, let's just get back in the DMs. Hell, we'll just get on the phone. Give me text messages, give me calls, whatever it is. I think that the cold element, yeah, it's not for everyone. I completely agree. I get it. But having that skill, you will always be paid for the rest of your life.
exactly, yeah. I'm never like I will spend all the money in my bank account and just never and not be scared because of that. Like obviously I don't do that, but like
Yeah, yeah.
I could spend all the money and just not be scared because I know that I can just go back and do that cold stuff, which is a really it's a hard skill to build, but it's a great skill to have.
Oh,
So
without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt. So we're going into the DMs and then currently we're booking calls, right?
that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. So that's where you have your brother. So you have Big Joe in there. He's doing the calls, so email to calls as well. And then you're currently taking the sales call yourself, right?
That's right.
Yep.
Yes, that's right.
I
Yeah.
think
And
that
also
that's fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing we started to do as well now that we're using like a proper CRM like you told us to, and
Beautiful.
we're going ahead and like we put out again, like you told us to put out the free course landing page, and we're collecting email, phone numbers. We also started experimenting around with just ringing people as well that just opt into the free course and just sort of
Beautiful. Yeah, I like that a lot. I think that that's a good way to go, is that you're in the place where you need to test some marketing systems. I didn't scroll down. So we've got, yeah, you need to be testing those marketing systems there, just seeing what you can, play with. And then you're also, you've got YouTube as well, right?
yes, yes, yes. YouTube is something that again I really wanted to get like because I felt that there was more on the table with and we said this at the beginning of the year when we had our sort of like
Yeah.
2024 call that like with the current system, there's more juice to squeeze out what we're currently doing with nurture, with DMs. Like it wasn't new that I needed, it was better. So like I kind of took a step back from YouTube. As
Mhm.
much as it can pay, it's very like hard to predict. Whereas the system that we're running, like I know that we can get to 40K, 50K per month in the next like 6 months, very predictably through what we're currently doing. Whereas YouTube, it's like, okay, maybe a video does well, maybe we book a load of calls and get good leads. It's like there's too much out of our control to put time into, to be
Yeah,
quite honest.
agreed. So for me with that angle is that I see like YouTube for us in particular, and for you as well, is I see it just completely a middle of funnel and back of funnel. Every single day I get a freaking email or DM from someone, hey Jason, your thumbnails are not optimized. You need to do this, this, and this. And I'm like, bro, leave me alone. It's getting 3, 4 sales. I don't really give a crap. And I don't want an editor. I don't want to hire anyone. Yes, I probably should do that. Now I've upped the quality a little bit, but at the end of the day, is that when you are building, you just stay as tight and lean as possible, like you've done. And I like that you cut this when you thought, okay, it's not really doing the impact that we want, because then you just bring all that focus back over here. It's great.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, like I think replace it. One thing to do is like replace the YouTube work that you would do with like creating trainings like this, for example, that you're doing now.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
you've got like 2 to 3 to maybe in your case probably more like 10 people watching who are potential sales and potential people who are thinking about joining the program. It's like
Exactly.
it makes sense to put time into it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I love it. Cool. All right, so let's go on to the sales side of things. So I can't actually remember too much. We haven't touched on too much. Like, did we do any sales schools, role play? I think we did a little bit, right?
Yes, when I first joined, I remember you
Yeah,
made me
that's
like
right.
do a few role plays in front of everybody, which was cool.
That was like three
Uh,
years ago too, I remember.
so long ago, yeah. But yeah, I mean, we just okay. So the biggest thing that you've given me was sales calls, and this is the biggest thing that we've changed.
Mhm.
So we do discover we set them on a from a DM conversation into a discovery call,
Yeah.
and then from a discovery call to a sales call. Now, one thing that you've given me, which is I think made closing really easy, and almost maybe I've had to not really do too much sales call role play or anything because of this,
Mhm.
is just because we've had a video that you instructed me to do in
Yeah.
between the discovery and the sales with a very specific script and framework, which has made sales just ridiculously easy.
Yeah,
And
that pre-call, so important.
crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And the framework that you gave me for that was just insane. So
So
we've been
simple
running.
as well, right? Like you're not like doing anything too crazy with it. You just speak it. Like it's super easy. I like that. Beautiful. Cool. That for me, I'm glad that like because I am now like we're still doing sales calls. I'll take them when I need to, but I'm also trying to push with like Google Docs and stuff like that. And so it is really good to hear that the process of this still works really, really well. Because that is something like a VSL type thing is what we are doing with the Google Docs. So that's freaking awesome. Um, uh, I remember close rate being an issue. What's the close rate right now, would you say?
Close rate's like 40%.
Uh, yes. I
It's
actually
high.
think that was at the start of the year we talked about that.
Yeah, it was low, and like close rate, collection rate was low. But yeah, because we just spammed appointment setting and not really put any work into like nurture or sales. So there was like I could book calls for days, but it was like, okay, are we actually closing as many as we should be? Whereas
Beautiful.
now, like, and I also think it's a credit to the sort of content and the email system that we've got going now too,
Yeah.
that kind of stops it from being such a low close rate. Like there's a little bit of friction in between the
Yeah. I think that it may be something that maybe we got wrong a little bit earlier on is that we were using a lot of things to get a sale, right? And so what I mean by that is like, so you email to get them to book an appointment to get a sale, which is obviously the way to go, or DM to book a call to get a sale. Whereas I think you've shifted, at least in your mind from what I'm hearing, is it's like email, but that email is nurturing them. Cool, in a
yeah.
week they might jump into the DMs, then we'll book the call and the next email will nurture and the next email. So it's more so building a system. And as I always say, it's compounding rather than cold to sold. And it sounds like
Yeah.
that's what you've built over the last couple of months.
100%. Yeah, that's what you said to us like
Yeah.
even like a few you're like you got to like take less focus off cold to sold. Like the answer to the next step is not in that, it's in up in that nurture. And I think people just sleep on that so hard because it is kind
Oh,
of boring.
yeah,
Data
it's
stuff.
crazy. Yeah, because it just feels like it's like not a direct, there's no direct path to a sale with nurture. You're putting out offers, that's direct path. So I think that it's great the way that you've done it. Now, delivery is this is probably for me one of the most impressive things about you and your program. Is the results are always insane. You're so focused on it. And you're actually one of the few clients who have never come to me and said, "Hey, Jace, I'm thinking of expanding my niche." I don't think we've had that conversation,
We never have. Yeah, we
which is
never have.
great. Actually, that's I'm super proud of that because I've had hundreds of clients who have been niche and then gone like, I want to coach
My
a
clients
business
say it to
coach
me
for
and
this.
I go, what are you talking about? I'm like,
Yeah,
stop.
yeah.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool to see, actually. That's impressive. So that means your results are insane. So what do you think of the keys? We've got the one-on-one side. We've got, the course. You have group calls as well, right?
Yeah, we have group
Yep.
calls. Yeah.
What do you think? So, like, obviously the one-on-one side, but like, why do you get so many results versus all of these other, PT coaches or anything like that?
Yeah. I think it's through what you've given me, and I think it's just like a system and process.
Yep.
Um, Most people they'll just sort of like get clients on and they don't really have their own philosophy or they don't really have their own articulation of like their way of doing things and their system. They don't have a process that they take people through. And I think
Hmm.
that's where they go. Even like with what you're showing now, like the fundamentals,
Yep.
acquisition, sales, delivery. It's like you've got to have that in place and you've got to have sat down and seen for yourself like exactly where you're going to get them the results and then design that.
Exactly. And it's so
Most,
funny is because we named our company Four Step Consulting
yeah.
literally years ago. And we didn't like because Chris and I aren't very creative, so that was the company name and it's stuck. And like, look at this. All these years later, it's still four freaking steps.
Yeah, and it embodies like exactly what the business is when you provide
Exactly.
all steps
Yeah.
that are going to what you want business wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's obviously a lot of nuance to it and things there. So I think that that's really important. And I do find, so one of the reasons why this does work is because people aren't doing it beforehand. Like they aren't doing any steps. They're just like, I'm going to post content, send DMs, and hope I get a sales call, right? Okay, where's the fundamentals? Where's your delivery? So I think that you're probably winning because you're just giving them this that it's just completely new to them, right?
So, yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
I
Just giving
love
them
it.
giving them a roadmap is like it's because it's like you'll join a program, especially like with fitness, and it's like, hey, you're now going to be on this amount of calories for the next X amount of weeks, and maybe we'll lose this amount of weight, and then people fall off so hard. You've got to give people a light at the end of the tunnel of like, hey, look, this is the next step. Don't worry, you're doing this now, but then we're going to do this, 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 and this, and it's going to have this result. And
Beautiful.
yeah, you've been good at giving that to me as well. It's like I've stayed very like not depressed about the hard parts of the process. Um, just because I know that like the next step is going to be less painful and that we are on the
Yeah.
right path. Yeah.
Yeah, I that's so good to hear that I've been passed like push that on to you because business is a 90% it's a mindset thing. It really is. At the end of the day, is like we're humans running businesses, not businesses who are run by humans. Like we are it's so predicated on how our mind works. And the thing is that it's actually what you said, the light at the end of the tunnel. It's super hard to see that when it's really dark out. Like when it's real
Yeah.
dark, you're just like, man, there's no freaking light. The
Yeah.
thing that we've always got to focus on is the inputs and what we can control. And so from what I'm hearing is you're controlling so many different things because you're always focused on those inputs. And and we have had that conversation where it's like, shit, like I'm still at 10K or I'm at 15 or I hit 12 or this and that, and you're just getting like frustrated. But you never once wavered from the process. You never tried to do some crazy, like, yeah, we're doing ads now on top of what we're doing. You never tried to dance on TikTok or any of that shit. We just kept doing the process and made little tweaks to help, but it was always the process. How did you stick to that mindset wise? Because it's rare that that happens. Like what caused that?
I don't know. For me, I like committed a long time ago to just like I'm going to make this work, or like there's nothing else. Like
Yeah.
I just committed myself to like I don't care what it takes. I'm just going to stand there. I'm going to take advice from people who are further ahead than me. Say yes, sir. I will do that. I'll get it done, and I'll just yeah
Yeah.
implement.
That I actually on one of our first calls, you said that to me. You said like, I just want to be one of your best case studies. And at the time, I think you were like chasing that as revenue, which is cool. Like, I still want that for you,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Like, I would love nothing more. But I definitely think that you are one of the best clients because you've just constantly executed on it, right? And there's some guys who've had like better opportunity offers, like a real estate investing offer.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that's going to
yeah.
crush, right? And I think that you'll get to that position, but you're going to look back on it. It's a longer journey and it's going to stay. And you're going to be
100%.
able to build some sick wealth along the way.
I understand that my offer, it's not the fastest offer to grow, but it's also not the slowest. I've seen people grow offers a hell of a lot slower. So I'm very grateful for the progress that we've made and
Yeah.
all your
It's
help.
not a like manifestation offer or something. It's still a good offer. Yeah.
That's tough. They're a tough sell, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. I love it, man. All right. So I'm going to leave the link below to your probably Instagram. I can leave one of your lead magnets as well. So if you guys wanted to check that out, I appreciate you doing this, man. Any final thoughts or anything else to say?
Oh, that's it. That's
Okay.
it.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you for jumping on, and I will be speaking to you all very soon.